Welcome everybody to Political Reacts. Okay, let's get into this right now. As we know, Trump and his administration, they don't give a damn about the rule of law. Trump, as you know, is a transactional individual. It's all about what he gets out of something. Now, we know that, remember, in his first administration in 2016, Trump had made mention about Venezuela back in those days as well, meaning he's always wanted to get his grubby hands into South America. And another thing that I'm noticing too is that every country that Trump is going after, you notice it's a country where people look like me. They're brown. There are people, I don't like that word people of color, but for the purpose of this video, these are people of different ethnic backgrounds in South America. Trump is going against these individuals when you have Putin, who he's been catering to, kissing the butt of Putin all this time. And you have a despicable administration where you've got J.D. Vance, who lied to us not too long ago about the economy. Okay. Carolina Levitt, who lies every day, is his White House secretary. And this man, Stephen Miller, who was just on CNN, and he said, we don't care about the rule. He literally said he don't care about the rule of law. It's not about the rule of law for us. It's about power, control, that we're not going to be this liberal bastion, that we're going to just do whatever we want in the world. This is Stephen Miller, who this guy was picked on. It sounds like he was picked on when he was a kid because he's always running his mouth. Then we've got Rubio, who at one point in time, and I'm going to be doing a video on this, had very harsh words about Trump, saying that Trump is sort of a con man, but yet he is willing to do the bidding for Trump. And I believe that this man, Rubio, in this administration, definitely would like to see Trump go out there and go against Cuba. He's already been talking about Cuba, and we know that Rubio has an issue with Cuba. And there are a lot of Cubans in Florida that are conservative, that left there under Fidel Castro, who they didn't like. And so Trump is already talking about going after Cuba. He's already made hints about going after Mexico. Let me just show you all something right here. This is going to be very interesting right here. This was an Axion, and I talked about this in the previous video that I just did. After capturing Maduro, Trump hints at military action in Cuba, Mexico, and Colombia. And you already got the Colombian president saying, come after me. I'm ready for you, Trump, because you and your administration ain't nothing but a bunch of pedos anyway. Pedophiles is what he was basically trying to say about Trump's administration that you see right here. So let's get into this, because this is crazy. It's obvious that this man does not respect the rule of law. There are rules in this country which separates us from other countries, where when a sitting president declares a war on another country, where he brings in military access, where military personnel are shooting missiles, bombs, whatever you want to call it, putting boots on ground, you usually have to go to Congress to get congressional approval for such things. Trump didn't even want to do that. And his administration, with people like Stephen Miller, are saying, no. This wasn't an invasion, you see. You see, what this really was, it was our attempt to arrest Maduro. This is what it was all about at the end of the day, is that we want to arrest this dictator. And don't get me wrong, Maduro is not a good guy. I'm not going to sit up here and act like he's a good guy when he's not. Yes, there are people laundering drugs in the world. You got drug lords in South America. Hell, you got drug lords probably in Europe too. Russia's got a big mob of they've got a mafia system in Russia, but you don't see America going after Russia and attacking them. And so if this was simply to arrest this man, why would you need military intervention to shoot missiles and bomb certain areas of the country? To me, that's basically you're declaring a war without declaring it through Congress, through an act of Congress, which is one example of how Trump has, in this case, in his White House, have broke the law. This man right here has broke the law because he's not following the rules of law. Because Trump is lawless. If you go back and look at how Trump was when he was in New York, he didn't follow the rules in New York. Here is what, as a reminder to you, they put him in a plane. They put the goggles over him so he couldn't see anything. And now he's in custody. They flew him out to New York. He's in custody of the United States government under Trump and his lawless act. And this has all been done, everybody. This has all been done in the name of what Trump calls unifying, liberating the people of Venezuela. Now, look, there are certainly people in Venezuela right now that are happy that Maduro has been arrested. They invaded the country and took him out, because there are people who never liked this man from the very get-go. And I totally understand that. But the problem is that the guy who took him out is a criminal himself, because, you know, Trump has about 34. He has 34 convictions, right? He is an R. He did something very horrible to a woman. He's trying to hide those Epstein files. He won't let you know how deep he was involved with Epstein and all the things that were happening. And I'm going to say this too. Trump is really good at flooding the system. I think it's not a coincidence that he did this, as more things are coming out as it relates to his involvement with Epstein. And Trump does this. This is another distraction to get us off of talking about Epstein, because now we're talking about him going in there, grabbing Maduro. Now him and his administration are putting out a narrative that this was about arresting a man that was part of the drug cartels, or a man that was pushing drugs, and that we don't want fentanyl and drugs getting into America, when, look, they don't produce the fentanyl in Venezuela. Venezuela is not a drug haven overall. But that's what they want you to think. This is how they give you smoke and mirrors. This is how Donald Trump distracts from the reality that he's in those Epstein files. This is how he changes the focus. And the funny thing about this, and it's not really funny, is that you notice that Donald Trump doesn't even talk about affordable care, affordable housing. He's passed no laws. This Congress is the most unproductive Congress that we've ever had under the Republicans. They're not passing any bills. They're not even dealing with the situation in which people's premiums are going to go up on their health care. You got the Democrats, by the way, that are trying to do something about this. And I got to be honest, the Democrats, in my opinion, have been weaker than spaghetti. They got spaghetti legs, because the Democrats should be all over social media. They should be on everybody's show beating the pavement about Trump. I'm getting sick of everybody saying that, hey, our democracy is going to be over if we don't do this. The democracy, let me be as quiet as I can. The democracy has already been taken. Wake up. By this man right here. And this whole thing with Maduro is just a distraction. I'm going to say it again. It's all a distraction from the fact that Trump is a criminal. We have a criminal administration running the country. They're doing everything that other countries do. And for all of you out there who say, well, this is not what America is about. This is not in our Constitution. America, this is exactly what America has always been about. America has been responsible for creating coups all around the world, taking out people in governments, people that were for the people, getting rid of them and putting in puppet leaders that will do the United States, play ball with the United States, should I say. They've always done it. They've done things in Africa. They've gone in places in Europe and caused problems. They caused problems for years in South America. This is nothing new. But let me show you something that's hypocrisy. So while they're going to keep telling you on the news and on these programs, his surrogates, that this is about protecting Americans, no, this is about oil, and it's always been about oil every step of the way, right here. So remember, we had the Iraq War, which was the weapons of mass destruction. They pushed that narrative for why they went into Iraq. So this has happened under other Republican administrations, okay, with Bush. Now, when it comes to Venezuela, the whole thing is about, we got to get out the drug lords. We got to get the drugs out because we don't want those drugs coming over here to America. But this whole thing is about oil, because that's all Trump and his administration keep talking about, is the oil and how they're going to bring in the oil barons or the rich corporations to take it over. Then they're telling the Venezuelans and everybody around the world that by letting these companies, Americans companies, come in there and seize the oil and control everything, that somehow the people of Venezuela are going to do well. They're going to profit. They're going to live good. Things are going to be a new day for them. That's bullshit. Anytime America goes into a place and takes something over, the people of that country are never going to have a good day. This is about resources. It ain't about people. The dollar is recoverable and people are expendable. Let's look at Iraq. They went over into Iraq and said that was about freeing the people, and those people are not living great over there. So we can't trust this government and what this government says, because this is the hypocrisy of a Donald Trump administration right here. Check this out. Remember, Trump gave a pardon to another dictating leader of Honduras. This is Juan Hernandez. It says right here on Politico, Trump officially pardoned ex-Honduran president of drug trafficking convictions. The president has framed the case as yet another example of overreach from the administration of Joe Biden. So Joe Biden does the right thing by putting this man behind bars in our country for being a drug trafficker as a president of Honduras. He was assisting in drugs getting into the country, which Donald Trump claims that that's what he's trying to fight against. But that's BS. So ask yourself this very fundamental question. Why would Donald Trump sit up here and sell us a bag of hogwash and pig slop and tell us this is about protecting Americans and keeping fentanyl and drugs out of our country, but then turn around and give Juan Hernandez a pardon, who was prosecuted by a court of law, given his due process, and then he pardons him? Because I'll tell you why. Trump is transactional. He knows by pardoning Juan Hernandez that Juan Hernandez will play ball with him. You notice everyone that he pardons are people that support him, people that will have his back and will lie for him at any cost. Let me read this article further for you. Former Honduras president Juan Orlando Hernandez is escorted by police special forces to be extracted to the United States to face charges of taking bribes from drug traffickers at Honduras National Directory of Special Forces on April 21, 2022. Right now, this is an example of the American government working with the Honduras government to bring this man in. Donald Trump didn't work with anybody in Venezuela to arrest and bring in, or to kidnap, should I say, Maduro. But he releases this man right here. This is the thick of heightened hypocrisy. Let me give you some more here. Again, I want to remind you, this man said he may go after Cuba. They're talking Cuba right now, Mexico, Colombia, and he's been talking about Greenland as well. The man's a damn shame. And this is all about this one thing, the almighty dollar, as I said before. This is about paying off those billionaires, the people who support Donald Trump the most. Check out this article right here. Hundreds of big post-election donors have benefited from Trump's return to office. The president's team has created highly unusual fundraising. 346 donors. Some have received pardons jobs, access to the president, and other valuable gains. Check out this article because it will awaken your mind as to how corrupt Trump is. We are living under a corrupt dictator. Trump wants to be a dictator. That's his attitude. That's his mentality. I never thought that I would live long enough to see the day that we have a real dictator in America. These are things that we read about in history books. We read about Mussolini of Italy. We read about Hitler. We've read about these various titanic dictators that we see around the world in Europe and even places in South America. And I'm going to say again, Maduro is not a good guy, okay? Yes, there is some corruption going on in South America and some of these countries. Some of these presidents are corrupt. I ain't going to lie about that. Even the woman of Venezuela, the one that they want to put in, they want to make her, they want to say that she's going to be the official president. She's got a shady background as well. Okay. This is why the people of Venezuela, you can't get too happy. You got one guy out that you didn't like, but you got a guy in Trump who doesn't give a damn about you. And while Trump is spending all this time doing this, what are Americans getting from this? Trump promised on his campaign that there would be no more wars, that he would not get us in wars. He blamed Joe Biden for us being in Afghanistan for so long, right? And now Trump has gotten us into another situation. Trump has not made anything go away that he claimed he was going to go away. He said he was going to make gas prices go down, make groceries get cheaper. He's lying. Now he's got us involved in this nation building and control that he wants right now. And this is really, in my estimate, a damn shame. Let me get to these videos that I want to show you. Let me put this up I want to read this right here. Give you a little history breakdown, right? Political Reacts comes with some history here. History. Iraq, December 2003, Saddam Hussein was captured by the United States, right? And now we have in 2026, Nicolai Maduro captured by the same power. When the United States cannot control a nation, their resources, then what they do is criminalize the leaders of those nations. And then they do coups. They send in their spies. They send in everyone to destroy that country. Or they'll send in their goons, which in this case would be the United States military. I'm just keeping it real with y'all. Let's go over here and look at the first video right here. I'm just going to give you a little taste of this video because this is the video where he came out before the press and said, we're going to control Venezuela. We're not going to leave. We're going to take it under control. Hell, we can't allow anybody else to get control of that oil. Everything that he said in this video is about oil, 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 and then more oil. Check this out again.
Going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe,
we gonna run the country
and judicious
transition.
Trump.
Right, we're gonna run the country
judicious, because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the.
So this is a word that Trump's been using quite a bit, that he wants peace, liberty, and justice. This is a bunch of BS. This is all about him paying off the big billionaires that have supported him in his campaign, that have lined up right behind him. This is about them getting further access to power through the White House. And guess what's happening, everybody? We all have to pay taxes coming up very soon again. These billionaires and these individuals that he has in the White House around him that are seeking what? They're seeking what? A deal, transactional deal. You give me something, Trump, we give you something. We as taxpayers are being hosed by this man. Tell me right now, and those of you out there who are part of the mega right, what has Trump done to make your life better? Don't give me this, he's making the world secure. No, he's not. And today, the United Nations had a meeting and they're all against Trump. China's against Trump. Russia's against Trump. All the nations are against Trump. Trump wants Greenland. All those Dutch countries are against Trump. Trump has no allies. He has isolated our country, put us in a bad state of affairs. And let's get back to this.
Of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland.
No, this is about Trump trying to get rid of people who look like me. So this is another finesse by Trump and his administration.
We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind.
You don't.
Decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it essentially until such time as a
for the oil
proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could.
That's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. Don't be fooled. The smoke screen is that Trump wants to make you believe that this is about democracy. This is about helping the people of Venezuela. You notice in his speech when he did this originally, he never said anything about democracy. Everything was about big business, corporations coming in, letting the American gas companies, oil companies come in, take control with the ops and with the idea that they're going to fix the infrastructure. Yes, I believe that they're going to go in and fix the infrastructure, but that's only so that they can do what? Distract the oil, distract the resources. Go in. It's the same thing that Halliburton did, right? You had Dick Cheney, who used to run Halliburton. When Halliburton goes into South America and you keep saying, hey, why is it that the rainforest is having problems and being cut down? Because you have to have these engineer companies come into the rainforest, cut the trees down, bring the tanks in, bring the trucks in to get the resources out. What the United States government is going to do is that they're going to fix it up. Remember, he's going to talk about roads and all this other stuff in these videos I'm going to show you, because you have to fix the roads, you have to fix the bridges so that when you pull the resources out, you have the proper infrastructure to get it out, to get it to on a plane, get it on a ship, to get it to here to America. He doesn't care about these people. He cares about the resources. And this has been the MO of American government since before I was even born. Let me show you what I mean. Trump was on CNN, and this is where Trump is now boasting again, where he's talking about, maybe we should go after Cuba next. Maybe Cuba is on the agenda. Let me see if this is the one I want to. Here we go.
But we can't take a chance after having done this incredible thing last night of letting somebody else take over, where we have to do it again. We can do it again, too. Nobody can stop us. There's nobody that has the capability that we have. You know, when I watch that war in Russia going on and on and on.
One of the things I want you to pay attention to is that he simply said, no one can stop us. Who talks like that? Who talks like that? Not a president of the United States. Who talks like that is a guy who's a dictator. He wants to be on par with dictators. You notice that that's all the people he likes in the world are dictators. He says, no one can stop us. He sounds like a damn villain from a comic book or a Marvel series.
You know, when I watch that war in Russia going on and on and on and everybody dying, and it's like, it's primitive. It's primitive. It's horrible. It's horrible.
So he says the war in Russia with Ukraine is primitive, but he's done nothing to stop that war, even though he said during his campaign that he could. But yet what he just did in Venezuela is not antiquated as well. But I want y'all to hear this part where he says this about nobody can stop us.
You know, when I watch that war in Russia going on
right here,
over, where we have to do it again, we can do it again too. Nobody can stop us.
Boom. Nobody can stop us. This is how sick Donald Trump is. Now, let's go to another video to show you just how sick he is. This is now this is where he's saying they may have to do it again. Now, what does he mean by do it again? He's talking about Cuba. I know I said this would be the Cuban video, but no, this sets it up for the Cuban video, because this is where now he's talking about Cuba. The guy is weird. Now, check this out. Lindsey Graham, who at one point in time had some things to say about Trump, but now he's been kissing Trump's behind I mean, he's tap dancing. He's buck dancing for Trump all the way. I want y'all to hear this right here. Lindsey Graham is kissing ass and he ain't taking no names.
He did something people talked about doing. You just wait for Cuba. Cuba is a communist dictatorship that's killed priests and nuns. They've preyed on their own people. Their days are numbered.
Now, hasn't Putin been killing people? Isn't Putin looked at as an international criminal? You have some countries in the world that want to arrest Putin as a war criminal. Isn't Putin been a war criminal? Why is it that the United States didn't fly military over in Russia and snatch Putin up? Why did Donald Trump allow Putin to fly into American airspace, in this case, Alaska, his administration, and he actually had the military get on their knees and roll out a red carpet for a dictator? And then he gives, as I told you before, he gives a guy like this, Juan Hernandez, he gives him a pardon, a guy who was a real drug dealer as well. And it's been bona fide and proven in court. You see what we have going on here?
We're going to wake up one day, I hope in 26, in our backyard, we're going to have allies in these countries doing business with America.
No.
Not narco-terrorist dictators killing Americans.
Now, their argument is that Venezuela was selling oil and giving resources to countries that don't like America, that are terrorist type groups. But yet we're doing business with Saudi Arabia over oil, and Saudi Arabia has harbored terrorists. Hell, bin Laden was Saudi Arabian. And then you had someone from Saudi Arabia, I think the prince who came to this country, was in the Oval Office. And when a member of the press told Trump, hey, didn't he just kill a American member of the press? They were in the White House when she said that. And Trump tried to get all over that young lady, said, oh, you're the fake news. But yet you're sitting there with a man from an Arab country who's responsible for an American member of the press being deleted, being taken out of here. Now, let's continue.
This is a big frigging day. And everybody in the world is thinking differently than they were just a few days ago because of what you did.
Because of what he did. This is crazy. This is crazy, y'all. This is the kind of fools we got running the White House. Now, Lindsey Graham, as I said, you're going to see on this clip, he's smiling as Donald Trump starts talking about invading and possibly invading Cuba. Lindsey Graham is laughing, smiling like a little kid on Christmas. Okay. I mean, totally buck dancing and kissing Trump's ass. Watch what you're going to see right here. This is crazy, y'all. Watch what you see right here. Check this out.
One of the things that is happening, and I think you see it all the time, Howard, you've seen it, that Cuba is ready to fall.
Yes.
Cuba looks like it's ready to fall. I don't know if they're going to hold out.
I want y'all to notice how Lindsey Graham is so giddy like a little kid. He's like, yes, he's buck dancing and he's cooning out for Donald Trump. Buck dancing. I mean, all you need is a banjo and have some tap dancing shoes for Lindsey Graham because he's sitting up there like, yes. I mean, the guy is a complete nut. Play this again.
Is ready to fall.
Yes.
Yes. Look at that.
Cuba looks like it's ready.
Look at he's
fall.
smiling.
I don't know if they're going to hold out. But Cuba now has no income. They got all of their income from Venezuela.
So let me explain that. So there was a partnership supposedly between Cuba and Venezuela. I think some of the oil money, Cuba was benefiting from that. And of course, America has put all kind of embargoes on Cuba over the years. So Donald Trump is sitting up there big and bad saying, oh, Cuba's all messed up now because they can't get any money from Venezuela because we got control of it now. This is a dictatorship at its finest. Let's go back.
Venezuelan oil, they're not getting any of it. And Cuba literally is ready to fall. And you have a lot of great Cuban Americans that are going to be very happy about this.
Marco Rubio.
Woo! So you see what's going on. You see the hypocrisy of a Donald Trump administration, and this man should have never been put in office. I'm gonna say it again. The people of Venezuela, you're not going to profit. You're not going to benefit. Everything that they're going to do over there, whether it be put in new infrastructure, is only going to be to support the United States agenda under Trump. This is all about the oil, controlling. This is about oil, power, and resources. When we went into the war in Iraq, same thing. We had military personnel that lost their life, got injured over there. All of this over oil and bureaucrat bull crap. Donald Trump is only thinking about his own pockets, the pockets of the people that supported him and put him in the White House, the billionaires. The people of Venezuela, you will not benefit. It will not make any of you richer. And if there are any Venezuelans that benefit, they will be the ones from the upper crest that will benefit, that will be willing to play ball with Trump. Now, let me play something else for you all here. Here's Trump when he's asked about the female, the president, vice president, I believe, who's already been sworn in as the president. And this is a woman who has a shady background as well. But it shows you that Trump is a sexist. He doesn't give a damn. He's a ruthless gangster type mentality. And here we go.
Venezuela right now. Have you spoken to the newly sworn in president there, Rodriguez? And what are your thoughts on the entire situation? You said the U.S. would run Venezuela.
We're dealing with the people. We're dealing with the people that just got sworn in. And don't ask me who's in charge, because I'll give you an answer and it'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
He's in charge.
We're in charge.
We're in charge. You hear that?
We're in charge.
Have you spoken with her?
No, I haven't, but other people
Do you want
have.
to?
Yeah, at the right time, I will. We have to do one thing in Venezuela, bring it back. It's a dead country right now. It's a country that, frankly, we would have been, if I had lost the election, we would have been a dead country. We would have been Venezuela.
So let's stop this right now. This is once again how Donald Trump moves the goalpost. Now he wants to say that, okay, Venezuela is a dead country, but this is where we would have been as Americans had he not been elected. This man has a super ego. This man is thirsty to get attention. He's thirsty he rewards himself. That's why he's making monuments to himself right now. He puts his name on the Kennedy Center, which is disrespect to the Kennedy family and that legacy. But Trump is a guy who is very insecure, because every time he talks, he complains about the Biden administration. He complains about Obama, who he's jealous of. He's angry because he didn't get the Nobel Peace Prize. The woman that he's talking about right now, who'll be the new president there, she won the Nobel Peace Prize over him. You know he doesn't like that. He's jealous of that. Let's hear some more of this sick man.
Steroids. Venezuela right now is a dead country. We have to bring it back, and we're going to have big investments by the oil companies to bring back the infrastructure. And the oil companies are ready to go. They're going to go in. They're going to rebuild the infrastructure.
The man is crazy. He's completely a freaking nut. I don't understand why he's in office. Why did people vote for him? Look, I got to keep it real with y'all. 59% of white males voted for Donald Trump. I think white women are about 53 somewhere percent voted for Donald Trump, as they did the first time. I think 34%, 35%, somewhere in there, Latino men voted for Donald Trump. And of course, we're seeing that he's got ICE all over the country arresting their family members that are not here, either legally or have paperwork that's not, kosher. And we're not better off. We're not better off with Trump in office, because he's not addressing real issues. Let me just fix something real quick. He's not addressing real issues that black people are concerned with, or that people, not only black people, but people of all races, are not having their issues really addressed by this man. This man is sick. And let me show you Rokon, who's really one of the Democrats that's really has put himself out there to really speak truth to power about how sick this man Trump is. And let me play this for you right here. This is when he was on, I think, MS Now. Here we go.
But let me just start by asking you, what has struck you most about the events of really less than 24 hours?
Well, it's not just the lawlessness. Obviously, he flouted Congress and the Constitution. He flouted international law so much that France and Germany and European allies are expressing skepticism. It's also his betrayal of everything he ran on. I mean, here's someone who in 2016 said, I'm against regime change war. That's how he beat Jeb Bush. I'm against the nation building that George W. Bush did. And today he's out there telling the American people we're going to run Venezuela. What happened to building up jobs here at home, to caring about the costs of living here at home? And many people just see this as a total betrayal of putting American interests and the American people first.
Facts. Look, Trump hasn't done anything. The big, beautiful bill is a big junk. It's garbage because that bill is designed once again to enrich the rich. The folks that voted for Trump, you mega heads that come from the South, you were goofy for voting for him. The man doesn't give a damn about you. Look at the farmers, how they have suffered. He gave $40 million to one of his buddies in Argentina, the president of Argentina, or the guy that was running for president, because that's his buddy. Once again, transactional. Trump has done nothing for the poor, the sick, people that are struggling in this country. Things are only going to get worse. And what's sick about this whole thing is that we just went through 1 year of Trump, and now we're in the second year of Trump. And this is already happening with him right now. I'm concerned. The only thing that's going to save us really, potentially, is this man's poor health. And can he last with that poor health? Another thing I'm concerned about is that everybody is wrapped up into the midterms. Yes, the midterms are important, but does it really guarantee that we're going to be able to stop Trump? Because you would have thought that we were guaranteed to stop Trump during the time when Trump created that January 6th, which January 6th is coming very soon, everybody. I would have thought that January 6th would have sealed his fate, but it didn't. He still got in office. And I think that everyone who are independent, liberals, if you're against Trump, don't put all your faith that in the 26th of this year, during the midterms this year, that's going to solve all our ills. There's still no guarantee that there's going to be a blue wave. It looks like there should be a blue wave, but damn it, this man, if you would have asked me a couple of years ago, would Trump be in office again after what he did in January 6th? I would say, hell no, but he's in office. Damn shame.
To your point, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene posted today that this kind of thing is, quote, what many in MAGA thought they voted to end. Boy, were we wrong. Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene posting something critical of Trump isn't necessarily a shocker at this particular point. Most people in MAGA world have kind of gotten in line to date. Do you think that will change, or what is your expectation? Because to your point, it's very counter to what he ran on and what a number of people who voted for him thought they were supporting.
Right.
Well,
it's
after
true.
the initial strikes, I saw some folks in MAGA like Mike Lee trying to give him the benefit of the doubt, saying, oh, this was just a strike and a capture of Maduro. No, that's a violation of international law. It's going to have terrible consequences. But then I think Trump made it worse. He goes up to the press conference and he says, no, it wasn't just a limited strike. We may go back in there. We're going to run the place. And he's got no plan for how he's going to do that. And now the American people are thinking, well, how much is this going to cost us to be able to have troops there? What is the plan? Are we really going
Here we go right here.
Keeping force?
Have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country.
That's a lie. What did I just say before? This has always been the history of the United States. When they go into a country and they build the infrastructure, they're going to fix roads. They're going to fix the connection to the seaports. They're going to fix the seaports up. They're going to fix up the bridges, all so that they can be able to do what? easily transport resources, in this case, oil, to move the oil, to be able to refine that oil and easily move that oil through a pipeline, or just move that oil where the United States can now benefit and now manipulate the markets in the oil cartels further. Because the only thing that keeps our dollar in this country afloat, everybody, outside of Bitcoin or the AI technology, is the fiat currency, the dollar, which has no legal, it's not legal tenure. If you look at your dollar, it says non-legal, it's legal tenure. It doesn't mean anything. It's just paper. Remember, there was a time when American dollars were backed by gold, the gold standard. Now it's backed by oil. Oil is the only thing that keeps our dollar afloat, on top of the fact that we've got this new economy with the AI and, of course, the crypto ripped off scams that go on. This is what he said. Everything he said was about the companies are going to come in and spend billions of dollars. I guarantee you the people of Venezuela, I'm talking about the poor, not the rich. I'm talking about the poor, the people that get up and work hard every day. They're not going to benefit. They will not prosper. They will not live in nice housing. They will not see themselves being able to buy a condo or a house. They will not see their wages go up. They'll see some nice roads being put in, but it won't be for their benefit. It'll be for the United States of America's benefit under Trump. Y'all have to understand how this works.
In Venezuela, and why is our president spending so much time talking about Argentina, Venezuela, the Middle East, and he's not spending time talking about Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin? What happened to the manufacturing jobs? What happened to lowering prices from day one? It just makes him look totally out of touch.
He is out of touch. He's out of touch, and those of you who voted for Trump are out of touch as well. You got to wake up. We're in a lot of trouble. This man is only in his second year, and this is just the beginning of the first of this new year of 2026. And look at the chaos that Trump has already caused just a few days going into the new year. Now, Rubio, who is a scandalous individual, everybody, he's a scandalous individual in this administration, went on, I think, ABC with Papadopoulos. I can never say his name correct. And made a total ass of himself because Papadopoulos asked him a very logical question, which was, what authority did Donald Trump, this White House, this administration have to do what they did in arresting Maduro? What laws helped them out? Now, I understand that they thought that they could be slick because Maduro, from what I understand, the way he got into office was sort of shady, and there are people in Venezuela who don't see him as the real president. So what Donald Trump and his evil administration did is that I believe they used a loophole because they're saying, well, he's not a real legitimate president because he was put in office under certain circumstances and a lot of people didn't vote for him and there was some shady things maybe with their election. Because usually you can't go into a country and arrest a sitting president of a country because there's certain laws and immunity that they have. Even Donald Trump's ass has immunity, right? That this dumb Supreme Court gave him. Let me let you see how Marco Rubio, who at one time said that Trump was a con man, how he gets on this show with Papadopoulos. I can't say the man's name correct. Y'all know who I'm talking about, from ABC, who jammed him up with real questions, and Rubio was stuttering, or Rubio got quiet because Rubio knows what he's doing is illegal under our laws, of course, the rule of law. Let's go. Let's hit it right now.
Be clear yesterday. He said the United States is going to run Venezuela. Under what legal authority?
Look how quiet he
Well,
gets.
first of all, what's going to happen here is that we have a quarantine on their oil. That means their economy will not be able to move forward until the conditions that are in the national interest of the United States and the interest of the Venezuelan people are met. And that's what we intend to do. So that leverage remains, that leverage is ongoing, and we expect that it's going to lead to results here. We're hopeful that it does, positive results for the people of Venezuela, but ultimately, most importantly for us, in the national interest of the United States. We will no longer have, hopefully, as we move forward here, we'll set the conditions so that we no longer have in our hemisphere a Venezuela that's the crossroads for many of our adversaries around the world, including Iran and Hezbollah, is no longer sending us drug gangs, is no longer sending us drug boats, is no longer a narco trafficking paradise.
Okay. Rubio is saying that it's no longer a narco paradise. And Rubio said at one point in time, and I'm going to do a video showing you exactly what Rubio said about Trump, that Trump was a con man, that he could not allow a con man to be in the White House. Yet he's doing the bidding of a con man, and he's being a con man himself. They're talking all this narco stuff, but yet why did they give this man a pardon right here? Juan Hernandez, who was convicted in 2022 by Joe Biden's administration, April 21st, when they worked along with the Honduras government to bring him in, to seize him and convict him as a drug trafficker, as a president of that country at one point in time. Why would you give him a pardon? Why would Donald Trump give this man a pardon in this White House? Somebody has to answer these questions, because it doesn't make any sense for old little Rubio to be saying these things, but yet Trump is doing everything opposite of what he's saying when he's already pardoned a drug dealing president. You see the heightened hypocrisy of this administration? Let's continue.
For all those drugs coming out of Colombia to going through the Caribbean and towards the United States. And obviously we want a better
This is about oil.
People of Venezuela. We want them to have an oil industry where the wealth goes to the people, not to a handful of corrupt individuals and stolen by, pirates all over the world.
Okay, so then why are you not going after Putin? And another thing that I want to say that I caught him in that doesn't make any sense. Rubio said that the oil resources shouldn't be going to a handful of pirates around the world. Let me figure this out. When did we hear about reports of pirates taking the oil? We heard the Trump administration saying that they were going after drug boats, which they never identified these boats as legitimate drug boats. And in some cases, you had family members who came out and said, hey, they just killed my uncle, my father. That's a fishing boat. But all of a sudden, Rubio is saying that there's pirates. What pirates? We never got any reports of pirates going over there taking oil. There has been no report of pirates taking oil from Venezuela. What pirates? Because if you're going to say that Maduro is a drug trafficker, then why would he need to, why would pirates are people who take and steal. If Maduro is a drug trafficking president, then they don't have to come over there and steal anything. He's giving it to them because they're doing a transaction. You see, if you listen to these people just long enough, you'll catch them in their lies. Rubio just sat up there and lied and said, there's pirates. We never heard any reports about pirates. All we heard is that there's fishing boats that they think were traffickers. And that has never been completely proven.
That's what we're working towards, and we intend to use the leverage we have to help achieve that.
Let me ask the question again. What is the legal authority for the United States to be running Venezuela?
Well, I explained to you what our goals are and how we're going to use the leverage.
You see how he got quiet? He paused. Well, I explained to you. No, you haven't, Rubio. Rubio, you have no guts. You have no principles. You have no character. You said a long time ago that Trump was a con man and that you would never allow a con man to get himself in the White House. What I've learned, everybody, this is very important. I learned this from Joe Madison, the Black Eagle. God rest his soul. He passed away some time ago. He said that in politics, there are no permanent enemies. There are no permanent friends. There's just permanent interests. And this is all so that even though Rubio said all that shit about Trump, this is about permanent interests, and is his interest being a part of the Trump administration. This is crazy.
To make it happen. As far as what our legal authority make it happen, as far as what our legal authority is on the quarantine, I'm very simple. We have court orders. These are sanctioned boats, and we get or make it happen. As far as what our legal authority is on the quarantine, I'm very simple. We have court orders. These are sanctioned boats.
This is crazy. Everything that Rubio is saying is a bunch of garbage. He's a bunch of garbage. Now, let me let you hear from, I believe this is a congressman who's basically going to break it down based on what this is really all about. And I got Bernie Sanders coming up for you next. He's going to break some things down. I've got my man, Dr. Cornel West, who said it's a damn shame that the beginning of the new year, Trump brings this bull crap to our laps. This is crazy. Check this out. You're listening to Political Reacts.
Case, it's my view that the Trump administration's been lying to the American people.
Yes.
This has never been about stopping drugs from coming to the United States. We all support stopping drugs. This from the beginning has been about getting rid of Maduro, grabbing Venezuela's oil for American oil companies and Trump's billionaire buddies.
Yes.
Donald Trump, claimed that he'd been against the war in Iraq from the beginning. That wasn't true. But what we do know is he said, well, having gone into Iraq, we should have gotten their oil. Right. This is what drives Donald Trump. And this is very true. Donald Trump said that about Iraq, which happened some time ago. He's a transactional figure. He's an evil man, and he's in the White House. That shows you how dangerous this man is. Servicemen and women perform magnificently. But I think it's outrageous that the President of the United States puts American lives at risk so big American oil companies and his billionaire buddies can profit.
Right. And they're going to profit. I mean, it's just that serious. It's just that simple. Let me hit you with some Bernie Sanders. He had some really powerful things to say here on his social media. This is Bernie Sanders breaking it down, and here we go.
Donald Trump has once again shown his contempt for the Constitution and the rule of law.
Right.
Let's be clear. The President of the United States does not have the right to unilaterally take this country into war, even against a corrupt and brutal dictator like Maduro. The United States does not have the right, as Trump stated this morning, to run Venezuela. Congress must immediately pass a war powers resolution to end this illegal military operation and reassert its constitutional responsibilities.
And it was an illegal military operation because they used the military to grab this man up. They used the military to shoot missiles or use ammunition against this particular community, this country. Even though the Trump administration will lie to you and tell you that this was not about that. This was about arresting him for warrants that they had on him or something of that nature. This administration is dirty. They are stinking the White House up. That White House that was built by my ancestors, black people that were enslaved, are responsible for that White House that you see right there. And Trump is stinking it up. Let's continue.
Trump's attack on Venezuela will not make the United States and the world safer. Quite the contrary. This brazen violation of international law gives a green light to any country on earth that may wish to attack another nation to seize their resources or change their governments.
Right.
This is the horrific logic of force that Putin used to justify his brutal attack on Ukraine. Trump and his administration have made it clear that they want to revive the Monroe Doctrine, a belief that claims that the United States has the right to dominate the affairs of the hemisphere. They have spoken openly about controlling Venezuela's oil reserves, the largest in the world. Let's make no mistake about it. This is rank imperialism. It recalls the darkest chapters of U.S. interventions in Latin America, which have left a terrible legacy.
Facts.
It will and should be condemned by the democratic world. Trump campaigned for president on an America First platform. He claimed to be the peace candidate. Well, At a time when 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, when our healthcare system is collapsing, when people throughout this country cannot afford housing, and when artificial intelligence threatens millions of jobs, it is time for the president to focus on the crises facing this country and end the military adventurism abroad. Trump is failing in his job to run the United States of America.
That's right.
He should not be trying to run Venezuela.
Facts.
Thank you.
Well, Bernie Sanders was certainly correct in his execution. What he said there, I got to give it to him. He was on point. I don't know. Here's a man, Keith Olbermann. Remember Keith Olbermann was on ESPN. He also had a show, a political show, I think on MSNBC. And of course, he's no longer on there. I think he has like his own podcast. And I thought the things that he said were very interesting. What you're going to hear him say right here. Here we go. This is Political React.
So Trump is now the military dictator of Venezuela. El Presidente. Until that is, big oil nominates a new dictator of Venezuela. And Marco Rubio is going to get himself impeached for lying about congressional approval. And now they're talking about Cuba.
And you just heard Marco Rubio that I played for you, where he claimed he had approval. He was on there with on ABC, Papadopoulos. I can never say that man's name correct, but you could tell when he was asked a direct question, what is the authority that you had to do what you did? He got quiet. He paused. He couldn't give poignant answers to those questions that were asked. Let's continue here with Keith Olbermann.
Cuba, even though like Venezuela, Cuba doesn't send fentanyl to this country either.
Right.
And why Russia's silence means Trump may have made a deal about all this. Putin lets him take Venezuela, and Trump lets Putin take Ukraine. Plus, why did they change the entire story about Trump's health again?
Right.
And another cognitive examination for Trump? Why do they have to keep giving Trump cognitive examinations? So Trump is now the military dictator of Venezuela. El Presidente. Until that is.
Let me move this up a little bit because we heard that part. And here we go.
Nominates a new dictator of Venezuela. And Marco Rubio is going to get himself impeached for lying about congressional approval. And now they're talking about Cuba, even though like Venezuela, Cuba doesn't send fentanyl to this country either. And why Russia's silence means Trump may have made a deal about all this. Putin lets him take Venezuela, and Trump lets Putin
So basically, I think I played that over again, but you get the point. I thought that maybe I missed a little bit of that. But no, that is exactly what Keith Olbermann was saying. He's on point. Rubio is going to get himself in trouble. I think when this is all said and done, there's going to be a day of reckoning when this whole thing is going to be over. And when that day of reckoning shows up, my question, this is my concern about the Democrats. Will the Democrats have the willpower, have the fortitude, and the revenge factor in their blood to be able to hold everyone accountable that was a part of this administration and don't show them no love? I can't 100% say that because this is the same Democratic Party that sat up there and voted for a resolution for Charlie Kirk, who was a racist, a demigod, went to college campuses to debate college students, college where he dropped out of college himself. He debated college students who are still developing their ideology. You never saw Charlie Kirk debate real scholars, people who have been around, who have been seasoned, who know history. He's debating college students who are still developing their ideologies. This shows you just how weak Charlie Kirk was. And another thing to show you how despicable Donald Trump is that remember when Charlie Kirk had gotten his life taken, good old Donald Trump sat up there and was out there golfing and playing golf and just kicking it like nothing ever happened and claimed that Charlie Kirk was his buddy, right? This is the same Donald Trump that let Nick Fuentes, a white supremacist of the Gropers, have lunch with him or dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Another thing, there's an article out that I want to do a video on where one of the girls who worked at Mar-a-Lago for Trump, a young girl, said that it was like being a slave, that they treated her like a slave. They treated the workers like slaves. How can anybody vote for this man? Let me hit you with a little bit of Cornel West, who I believe just breaks it down so brilliantly. Here we go.
Here we are, starting a new year with old style gangsterism and old fashioned imperialism, not just violation of international law, not just undermining human rights across national borders, but the attempt to redo the American empire.
Facts.
Based on 19th century power perception
and dynamics
and new technological instrumentalities. Let us resist. Let us tell the truth. We shouldn't be surprised, but let us
tell the
never,
truth.
Ever cave in.
That's right. Political reacts. That's my man Cornel West telling it like it is. Now, before I end this, I'm about to come to conclusion here. I want to show a little respect. This young lady that I'm going to play for you, I found this clip off of Twitter. I call it Twitter still. We know it's X, but it's Twitter. Another thing I noticed is I can't get any traction on X. When I noticed that if you are a person who is against Donald Trump, against the mega right, that when you post things on X, your posts don't get a lot of traction unless you're some well-known person in the media, right? Because Elon Musk is working those algorithms to suppress your post by pushing the post of these mega right. That's why definitely you can find me on Blue Sky. Go over to Blue Sky. You'll find me on Blue Sky at Political Reacts Media. And I put a lot of posts over there. I feel very comfortable on Blue Sky. Everybody on Blue Sky, shout out to you for supporting the, I got about 1,000 and I think 1,200 or 300, 1,300 followers on the Blue Sky so far. People are liking my post. And there's a lot of posts on Blue Sky that I will be turning into video content over here on this channel. Let me play this from a young lady who's from Venezuela. She says that before people start protesting and defending and getting out in the streets and defending Maduro being kidnapped, she's saying that, hey, he was a horrible person. Maybe it'll be a better place without him for people in America that are Venezuelan to go back to Venezuela. New York has the largest number of Venezuela, I think, in the country. But this is the thing. I understand where she's coming from because this guy is a bad guy. Okay, this guy right here is a very, very bad guy. We're not going to deny that. But I don't think that your country is going to be better because the United States takes over, because they're there for financial reasons. They're there for money. They don't care about the people. But let me just let you hear her perspective, because I believe her perspective is a good perspective from someone who's from the country. And then we're going to critique that perspective once again as part of our conclusion of today's program. Let's go.
Now a message to my English-speaking friends, because I'm already seeing people are organizing protests, hands off Venezuela, let's defend Maduro, we love dictators. Do not for a moment let your hatred and disdain for Donald Trump, an unsavory character,
okay, yeah,
have
he is,
you defending the dictator of my country that was destroyed by him and Chavez and their system 20 years ago.
I get
we
it.
Venezuelans are very, very happy that our dictator has been arrested, removed, and will be put through a trial. It's
Okay.
the first time we're seeing justice in 26 years. Now let's hope that they get the rest of the criminals out of Venezuela, and then we can return home.
Now, I don't have a problem with what she's saying. Obviously, she knows her country better than I would. Obviously, we know Maduro is a criminal. I'm not going to sit up here and say that the man is a man of good character. Hell no. I'm not going to say that at all. I would be not a good, I wouldn't be telling the truth if I said that. However, I understand her hope for her country to be better. But what she may not be realizing is that this is about oil. Iraq, and we had the Iraq, now we have Venezuela now. This is about oil. So while she's hoping that the United States is going to do right by her country, what she's failing to understand is that America is only there for their own self-interest, not Venezuelan people. Because as I said right here, you got to check this article out. Hundreds of big post-election donors have benefited from Trump's return to the office, to the White House. 346 donors. Some have received pardons, job access to the president, and other valuable gains since him being in office. This is not good for Venezuelans. This is bad for you because the proof, unless you see, for you, look, you got a dictator that's out, but you got a dictator who gets a dictator out of power only to get himself in power by saying he's running the country now. He's your government now. He gonna be there for a while. He gonna bring in the corporations to fix everything up. But it's yet to be seen whether the people of Venezuela are really going to profit as they're claiming. And I'm going to say again, it's not a coincidence that the only countries that Donald Trump is going after are countries where you have people that look like me. He's got Stephen Miller in his White House, who is a racist, a white supremacist. Donald Trump's a white supremacist himself. Okay. Stephen Miller in this administration right here. Let me put this up right there. This is a white supremacist administration. It is coming to fruition. There are white people in America who don't like the way things went down when Barack Obama became president. They didn't like the idea of a black man being president for 8 years, because how do we go from having someone like Obama? And Obama, he bombed. I'm not going to sit up here and lie. He put a lot of bombs on people. He used a lot of those, those robotic planes that he dropped on people. But Donald Trump being in office is a backlash for us having Barack Obama as president. There were people in this country who couldn't stand the idea of someone who looked like me being in that White House. And while Trump talks about how Joe Biden was so sleepy, let me let you see this picture of how he sleeps. His health is not that good. Look at him. Look at him. He can't stay awake to save himself. The man is old. He's decrepit. You've got an old fool running the country. It's a damn shame. With that said, everybody, this is Political Reacts Media. I'm your host, Information Man. Y'all take care. You have a good night, a good day, a good morning, a good afternoon. Whenever you watch this video, make sure you share this video in your social media, right? Share it. Thank you for watching again. Subscribe to the channel. Make a comment on this video. Give me your thoughts. Share the video. And I appreciate you all for being here, everybody. Thank you very much. This is Political Reacts.